You've probably heard men say this before. Nothing I do is ever good enough. The flowers are the wrong color. The restaurant choice is wrong. He helps with housework, but does it incorrectly. He doesn't help and suddenly he's lazy. Works long hours to provide and he's absent. Stays home more and he lacks ambition. This pattern of constant dissatisfaction isn't random, and today I'm going to reveal something that will completely change how you understand relationship dynamics. Before we dive in, let me be clear about something. This isn't about attacking anyone or making sweeping generalizations. What I'm sharing comes from observing countless relationships and recognizing patterns that appear with startling consistency. There are psychological mechanisms at play here that most people never recognize, and understanding them can save you years of frustration and confusion. The revelation that changed everything for me came through my own painful experiences. Over several years, I dated women from completely different backgrounds, ages, careers, and personalities. Yet the pattern was identical every single time. Initial happiness during the honeymoon phase, then gradually increasing dissatisfaction with everything about me and our life together. The first woman complained I wasn't romantic enough, so with the next one, I went full romance mode. Surprise trips, poetry, grand gestures. She complained I was too soft and not masculine enough. With the third, I became more dominant and decisive. She complained I didn't consider her opinions enough. That's when it hit me like a lightning bolt. The dissatisfaction wasn't actually about my behavior at all. These women were running internal programs that guaranteed unhappiness, regardless of external circumstances. They were unhappy before they met me, unhappy with me, and remained unhappy after me. The dissatisfaction came from within, not from anything I was or wasn't doing. Let me break down the first layer of this puzzle: genetics. Research indicates that approximately 50% of personality traits, including optimism versus pessimism, are hereditary. Some people are literally born with brain chemistry that predisposes them to focus on the negative in everything. Their default setting is dissatisfaction. Their baseline is complaint. Their normal state is unhappiness. I've observed this pattern repeatedly across generations. The grandmother was chronically unhappy, the mother is chronically unhappy, and now the daughter displays the same patterns. 3 generations of women who could win the lottery, live in paradise, and still find something wrong because their brains are wired to seek out problems rather than appreciate what's good. But genetics is just the foundation. The real damage often comes from childhood programming. Most chronically unhappy women I've encountered had one of 2 childhood experiences, sometimes both, or, first, a problematic relationship with their father. Maybe he was absent, abusive, or emotionally unavailable. This creates a deep resentment toward masculinity and an unconscious belief that men will always disappoint them. Ironically, they often create this reality by choosing disappointing partners or setting impossible standards that turn even good men into disappointments. The second pattern involves watching their mother be chronically dissatisfied. Mother constantly complained about father, criticized everything, was never happy with what she had, always wanted something different or better. The daughter absorbs this like a sponge, thinking this represents normal female behavior, that this is how relationships work, what marriage looks like by adulthood. This programming runs so deep they don't even realize they're operating from their mother's emotional software. Time after time, I see women unconsciously recreating their mother's unhappiness, even when they consciously swore they'd never be like her. They catch themselves saying the exact words their mothers said, making identical complaints, creating the same miserable atmosphere they grew up in, because that's what feels familiar. Humans will choose familiar over happy every single time, unless they're conscious about it. Here's where things get twisted. Modern women have been sold a fantasy about what relationships and marriage should provide. They grow up on fairy tales, romantic movies, and social media highlights, entering relationships expecting constant romance, adventure, and perfection. Then reality hits. Bills, chores, routine, normal human flaws in their partner. The gap between fantasy and reality becomes a source of endless dissatisfaction. I knew a woman named Sarah, beautiful and intelligent, who married a man who adored her, good guy, stable job, treated her wonderfully. 6 months into marriage, she was miserable. Why? Because she expected marriage to heal all her childhood wounds, fill every emotional void, make her feel complete. When that didn't happen, when she still felt empty inside because those holes can only be filled from within, she blamed him. He wasn't romantic enough, successful enough, whatever enough to fix what was broken inside her. This creates a projection dynamic where internal emptiness gets blamed on external circumstances. If only he made more money, I'd be happy he gets a better job and higher salary. She's still unhappy. Now it's, if only we had a bigger house. They get the house. Still unhappy. If only he was more attentive. He becomes more attentive. Still unhappy. Now he's too clingy, and she needs space. The target keeps moving because the dissatisfaction has nothing to do with the actual target. Social media has amplified this problem exponentially. Every woman now has constant access to thousands of other women's carefully curated highlight reels. She sees her colleague's anniversary gift, her sister's home renovation, her friend's vacation photos, and each becomes evidence that her own life is inadequate. This comparison culture creates a permanent state of feeling cheated, like everyone else got the good life while she got stuck with ordinary reality. What she doesn't see are the struggles behind those perfect posts. The colleague whose marriage is falling apart, the sister drowning in renovation debt, the friend whose vacation was financed by credit cards. She only sees what others appear to have that she doesn't, never what she has that others lack. There's also something most people don't recognize about authenticity in relationships. Many women feel they can't be their genuine selves because they believe their authentic self wouldn't be chosen. So they perform. They present themselves as easygoing when they're demanding, as sexual when they're not particularly interested, as domestic when they hate housework, as agreeable when they're controlling after marriage. When the performance becomes exhausting and the mask comes off, they're angry about having pretended for so long and simultaneously angry at their partner for not seeing through the act. This performance exhaustion breeds deep resentment that manifests as chronic dissatisfaction. She's unhappy because she's not being real, but she can't be real because she believes her real self isn't good enough. The immaturity factor compounds this issue. Many people enter relationships without knowing what they actually want. Only what they think they're supposed to want according to society, friends, family, or social media. They've never developed their own values, goals, or sense of self separate from external validation. They choose partners based on what would impress others, lifestyles based on what looks good online, paths based on what they think they should want, rather than what genuinely fulfills them. Then they wonder why they feel empty and dissatisfied with a life that isn't even authentically theirs. Modern culture has programmed many women with a superiority complex. They've been told they're queens and goddesses, that they deserve everything, and men should be grateful for their presence. This creates a dynamic where they see men as inferior beings who exist to serve and worship them. But here's the psychological paradox. You cannot respect what you see as inferior, and you cannot be happy in a relationship with someone you don't respect. I knew someone who literally called men animals while simultaneously wondering why she couldn't find happiness in relationships. She treated every man like a servant who should be grateful to provide for her, then wondered why she felt empty and disconnected. You cannot feel genuine connection with someone you view as beneath you. It's psychologically impossible. Many women seem to actively sabotage their own happiness, though this isn't conscious manipulation. She says she wants stability, then creates chaos. Says she wants peace, then starts conflicts. Says she wants love, then pushes away affection. This is unconscious programming playing out. She's recreating dysfunction because dysfunction feels like home. The childhood wounds run so deep that many don't even recognize happiness when they experience it. I've watched women in genuinely good relationships create problems from nothing because peace feels wrong, stability feels suspicious, and happiness feels temporary. So why not destroy it now rather than wait for it to inevitably end? They're so convinced happiness is impossible that they make it impossible. The biological clock adds another layer of anxiety that can poison present happiness. Women face time constraints around certain life experiences like marriage and children, creating underlying pressure that makes it difficult to enjoy what they currently have. They're either rushing to meet milestones and stressed about the pressure, or they've met milestones that didn't fulfill them as expected, or they've missed milestones and feel regretful about what they'll never have.